Hey guys, Joe DeMarco from the Crazy New York Driver Show. Today is Tuesday, January the 10th, 2023. Welcome to a special edition of the Crazy New York Driver Show. I am celebrating my 24-year anniversary on eBay, which was actually yesterday, but I didn't have time to crank out a video yesterday. We're going to go inside now and talk about my 24-year anniversary. But before we do that, I wanted to show you it is still cloudy and nasty and no end is in sight. They actually had the audacity yesterday on the forecast, even my local forecast on TV, to predict today as the only sunny day of the week. And I woke up, turned on the radio, and they said, well, a cloud deck has moved in. It's going to be cloudy all day and the rest of the week too. No repercussions, nothing. Ugh. Let's go in. Let's get started. Okay, guys. Welcome to the celebration for my 24-year anniversary on eBay. Truthfully, I did not plan to make a video today. However, originally, I was going to do photography today because they had predicted a sunny day, and you see where that went. So, since it's going to be cloudy for the next 2 weeks, I got a little time, and I figured I would do a special video for you guys talking about 24 years selling on eBay. And if I have time at the very end, I'm going to tell you an interesting life story and get your opinion on something. I joined eBay in January 1999 after quite a bit of pushing and prodding. Things were different back in 1999. The internet was not what it is today, the hubbub of activity. Most people still shopped in local retail stores. And for that reason, my local sales were booming. Just booming. I didn't need to make any extra money. A business associate of mine had told me about a site called eBay where you could buy and sell items and score some good deals. I did not need, as I said, to make any extra sales. So I really wasn't too concerned about it. I kind of put him off every time he brought this up. However, I was lacking in merchandise. I was selling way more than I was acquiring. It so happens this business associate of mine spotted something on eBay that he knew I would be interested in. There was an eBay seller selling Toyota hubs in sets of 4. You could buy 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, and it was something I was in dire need of. So this particular guy sends me a link to the site called eBay with this particular listing. It was a buy it now listing. And I looked at it and I said, oh Christ, this is exactly what I need. So what I did was I signed up for eBay that very moment just to buy those items. And I think the guy had maybe 15 sets available. I bought them out. I bought everything he had. The guy was happy to make the sale to me. He shipped everything to me here, and I sold them to my retail customers. So from that moment on, I was heavily into buying on eBay, but still not that much into selling. Believe it or not, you're going to think I'm nuts. But back then, I would list 7 items a week, and that was it. I would list them in the auction format, and if they sold, great. If they didn't sell, I'd just relist them the next week. Because I had so much money coming in locally, I didn't need the extra. Plus, I wasn't so sure I wanted to get into it. But as time went by, little by little, I started listing more and more. The next important date to keep in mind would be September 11th, 2001. A day none of us will ever forget. That horrible, horrible day in history where the World Trade Centers were attacked. I remember that day vividly. I was working here And the amount of emergency vehicles going by me right here in front of this window, heading into the city, was just nonstop. Nonstop, okay? From that moment on, people in my area immediately changed their life views. Whereas most people were energetic people, they would get up conscientiously, go to work every day. That was it. They stopped. They stopped dead. People in this area are lazy now. They don't want to work. And those who do work only work a few days a week or work from home. It has changed dramatically. And as time went on, it got worse and worse and worse. You won't believe the amount of people I see on a daily basis strolling up and down here like they're walking in the park. Nobody goes to work anymore. Everybody buys online. Now, that is actually a blessing in disguise because my eBay sales have rocketed through the roof. 2022 was my busiest eBay year in history. Now, one of the reasons for that was that I acquired a huge inventory. I made a huge purchase, so that accounts for some of it. But still, even putting that aside, people are doing more and more of their shopping online now on eBay and Amazon than ever before. The days of retail stores opening are done. Let me name some of the stores that have closed here in the last 6 months. Right up the street from me, within walking distance, a Dunkin' Donuts. Who ever heard of a Dunkin' Donuts going out of business? Not only that one right there, but the one in a neighboring town also went out of business. Guess what else is going out of business this week? Right on Route 17 in Paramus, Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble opened the same year I did here, 1994. Barnes & Noble is done. Who would have thought? People aren't going in to buy books into Barnes & Noble anymore. That's done. A pizza place up the street, done. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. If you drive downtown here in the heart of town, by the avenue, there has to be at least 6 or 7 vacant stores. The days of retail are over, all right? This is why it's so important for all of you guys to really hype your eBay sales. And it's why I get so pissed off when people send me best offers and don't pay. This has been a growing problem. It's getting worse, in my opinion, on eBay, and it only happens on eBay. And it could be fixed so easily, but it has never been fixed. Quite a few people have been talking about this in the Facebook groups. Somebody actually made a post the other day in one of the eBay Motors Facebook groups. So I don't know if I have the picture on here. I might. So what I did was I made my own post on one of the eBay groups, and I decided that I would show it. Nothing like having a picture ready, is there? I want to show you the actual screenshot I took the other day. I don't know if you can see this clearly. Look how on every one it says sold, awaiting payment. That is absolutely uncalled for in today's society in e-commerce. It can only happen on eBay. And that is why I am lobbying, hopefully with your help, to get this practice to stop. I want immediate payment required on best offers. There are some people that are under a misguided impression, because they just don't quite get it, that when a buyer has his payment information on file, that immediate payment is required. That is not the case, guys. That is something I was answering in the post I made the other day on Facebook. There are people that actually think that if they have their payment information on file with eBay, or if a buyer requires it, that means immediate payment is taking place, and that is not the case. Please, please believe me, guys. One person showed a screenshot of an offer he got from a prospective buyer saying that if he accepted the offer, he would be paid immediately. That is immediate payment, and only that. It must say it in the offer that you will be paid immediately. I've been selling on eBay for 24 years. I get 50 best offers per week, and I swear to God I've never gotten one. And I think I may know the reason why, because someone else mentioned this. I think it's because I sell in eBay Motors. Are there any eBay Motors sellers out there that have actually received the best offer where it says you would be paid immediately? I'm only interested in eBay Motors sellers for this question. Please address that below if you would. So yeah, it is now 2023. In the video I made on Friday, I made a mistake on the date, and quite a few people called me out on that, and that's fine. Hey, I made the mistake. If we can get immediate payment on best offers initiated on eBay, like it is on every other site, I think 2023 will be a great year. But if we can't, if they refuse to do it like they promised they would, then I do see some bumps on the horizon. All in all, that issue aside, I don't see many problems on the horizon at all. I think money's going to continue to roll in, hopefully in large quantities. I've been doing very well, knock wood, except every now and then I run into a dead zone. And this was posted on Facebook earlier today. Several of us have not had a sale since last night. My last sale was last night, Monday night at 11 p.m. That's over 12 hours ago, and I haven't had a sale. Now, Christ, come on. I know the pulse of eBay, all right? This doesn't happen. I think that there are many issues going on. I didn't say many. I said many, M-I-N-I, small issues that disrupt the flow of e-commerce. I'd also like to point out for this video that this is totally unscripted and I'm ad-libbing everything. I have no notes, I have no comments, nothing. I'm just off the top of my head winging it. So yeah, that being said, I'm going to end the eBay section of the video and I'm going to segue into a life story. This is something I thought about telling you for a long time and I've been holding back on it. And I was actually talking to my brother, and he contributed a life story of his own that him and I experienced. And we had a little bit of a disagreement as to which of these two stories is more interesting and more thought-provoking. So I'm going to tell you them both now, but I'm not going to tell you which one of us the story happened to. That's not important right now. I want you guys to listen to both stories and tell me which one strikes you harder. Okay? And I have to be careful the way I tell them. I want to try and tell them in the third person or as a person not actually involved because I don't want you to know who's who right now, but I'll tell you later on once you guys comment. As I've told you guys in the past, my brother and I grew up quite poor, very poor in fact, and it's something I rarely talk about on this channel, and I probably won't ever talk about it again. But I'm going to talk about it now because it bears on the two stories I want to tell you. So here's story number one. Both happened when we were approximately age, let's say 9 or 10, in that time frame. Story number one is the bakery story. The bakery story is, back then we would go to church on Sunday. I know, but I have to tell the story and I have to give you all the details, okay? So back then after church, we would go to the bakery. And my mother would get a dozen hard-seeded rolls for school lunches and other things like that. Okay? Now, if you know about bakeries back then, there's usually a pretty long line with people buying stuff, people coming out of church, that kind of thing. So, all right. My mother would also buy something called a pecan ring, which is a ring with pecans on it. Not a big deal, but I have to tell you this to give you the full gist of the story. Now, in the glass case, usually toward the bottom, are rows and rows of cookies. Chocolate chip cookies, sugar cookies, mixed cookies, cookies with the cherry on them. And one of us loved those cookies, but did not like the pecan ring. And one of us would say something like, "Could we have some of those cookies?" And my mother would always reply with a stock answer, "Oh no, you can't have them because you have to buy them in huge quantities." And she always led us to believe that you had to buy like 5 or 10 pounds of them. Huge quantities, okay? And of course, being little kids, we bought into that. Only to grow up and realize you could buy them. You could buy half a pound. How much could half a pound of cookies be? Or a quarter pound? Not very much. But the thing is, as we got older, we realized we just didn't have the money for them. Okay? That's story number one. Now I'm going to tell you story number two. Story number two is called the supermarket story. From time to time, we would stay with our aunts in the Bronx. It was a win-win situation for us because it was less mouths to feed and other issues too. So, periodically, we would go to the supermarket with our aunts and purchase things. So one day, we went to the supermarket and we were in kind of a rush. My aunt was in a rush. And she needed to buy several things. And she assigned certain items for us to get. So she said something like this, "I'm going to go over and get a loaf of bread." And she said to one of us, "Go down the canned goods aisle and get me a can of mixed vegetables." Okay? So she goes to get her bread. The kid goes to get the mixed vegetables. Now, as you know, stores have many different brands of mixed vegetables. Del Monte, Green Giant, the cheaper store brand, or whatever. They must have had 6 or 7 different types of mixed vegetables. So the kid is looking at all the cans of mixed vegetables. Ergo, it's taking him longer than it should. So my aunt, who's waiting up at the checkout, is wondering why the kid is not done with the can of mixed vegetables, comes flying down and says, "What's taking so long?" And the kid replies, "I'm looking for the cheapest one." And my aunt says, "What?" And the kid replies, yes. I have to stay here and go through every single can until I find the cheapest one." And my aunt is actually appalled, almost repulsed, and said, "Who told you that?" And the kid replied, "Who told him that?" And my aunt said, "You don't ever have to do that when you're with us. You pick the can you want and you buy it. That's what money is for. All right? When you work, you earn money, you spend it." And the kid said, No. The kid was adamant. No. This is the way I was taught, and this is the way it had to be. And the kid was telling the God's honest truth, because he knew if he ever purchased a can that was 2 cents more then another brand, there was going to be hell to pay, and he was speaking from experience. So yeah, those are the two stories. Now, I'm telling you these stories because I think they're interesting and enlightening. I'm not looking for your pity. No, that's not how I roll. All right? These are things that actually happened to me, and that's why today in 2023, I get upset when people don't pay for things they promised to pay for, and why I think it's so important to make money, and why I've been working since age 16 and never, ever been out of work once. I've never filed for unemployment. I will work probably to the day I drop, but that's the reason, okay? I am who I am, all right? Now, my brother and I often talk about these two stories because they're two stories that impressed us indelibly growing up. And maybe not in a positive way, but they did happen to us. So I would like your opinion on those two stories. Does one strike you more than the other? I'd like your opinion on them. And after this video, I'll not bring them up again. So if you have anything to say about them, this is the video to say it, okay? Because after today, we ain't talking about it again, my friends. So, I've been on eBay for 24 years, and I've done very, very well. You have no idea how many people I try to get to sell items on eBay. You know I said I was done with the eBay section of the video, but another little quick story for you guys that happened yesterday. People often come in here with no intention of buying anything, but they want to sell their merchandise to me. There are two type people. Number one is the nice guy. He'll come in and say, hey, I have some items. They're really worth nothing to me, but would you be willing to give me a few dollars for them? And I'll look at what he has, and if it's something I know I can move, sure, I'll give him a few bucks, and I'll either sell them locally or on eBay. Yesterday, I had one of those guys. 20 minutes after he leaves, I get the other type, and I'm going to have to use a term some of you might not like, and I'm going to use the word scumbag. I got one of the scumbags. He pulls his car right here, blocks my driveway. I see him coming in with a crate full of items. I got some things here I want you to take a look at, he says to me. I think you'll be interested in them, and I want to know what they're worth to you. So I can tell by his tempo, he's got an attitude, and he's going to want top dollar. So I say to him, I'm really not interested in any of that stuff. There's nothing there I really want. Well, I've seen these on eBay, and they go for X dollars. I said, I have a question for you. I said, why don't you sell them on eBay and make X dollars? No. I'd rather sell them all to you and have you do the work. And he tells me this to my face. I said, no, that's not how it works. I said, if you're looking for top dollar, he named a price. Let's just say he pointed out one item that he had, and I think he said $20. And let's just say that with the price. There's no way I would pay him $20 for one piece. Absolutely not. All right? I said, if you want $20 for that, you might get it. You might get it, I said. But you have to be willing to do the work and list the item on eBay. And they don't want to hear that. They want someone to hand them $20. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I'm Crazy New York Driver, and you're not. Thank you for watching this video. A celebration of 24 years on eBay, and more to come. Please comment on any of the aspects that I've talked about. whether it be eBay related, immediate payment related. Tell me, guys, if you don't mind, how many years have you been selling on eBay? Because I'd really like to know. And if you want to talk a little bit about those life stories, you can. And I'm Crazy New York Driver, you're not. Rock on, peace. And could you please tell me, how do you want to proceed?